Hey guys, it's Chris Hudson from Hudson Lighting. Today, or this evening, or this morning, or whatever you want to call it, because for me, right now, it's 1 AM Saturday, so technically Sunday. So yeah, 1 AM Sunday, and I'm tired. I'm really tired. It's not going to be, there's no building of stuff in this video, no machining, nothing like that. So if I'm going to be talking a little bit more about business stuff and a bit about lean and some other little bits and pieces. If that's not of any interest to you, it's probably worth just stop watching now. But I want to say, so I've been a bit frustrated recently. We have been working like absolute mad, trying to get everything done, trying to get on top of our orders, because we're constantly in this place of, so some of our orders are on time, and then there's a few orders that are sort of behind as well. We're not really getting anything out early, and I find that really frustrating, especially when now we're advertising a 4-week lead time. Now the reason for 4 weeks, other than having a lot of orders, is because we should be moving in about 2 weeks. It's really hard to say at the minute. It's all, solicitor stuff, etc. still going on, but the refurbs should be finished this coming week, and then it's just literally just down to the solicitors finishing their last little bits and pieces. I think the biggest hold up is on my own query, because I want to get 250mm holes core cut into the wall for extract and fresh air, and they're saying about structural surveyors and stuff. Anyway, usual, isn't it, really? So anyway, I promised myself that I wasn't going to do any more stupid late nights. So on Friday night I finished, or technically it would have been Saturday morning, I finished at 2:30 in the morning, trying to finish a build that is a lovely build in Corton. I mean, there's a light kind of sitting loosely there at the minute because there's an issue with the LED. The LED's got to be whipped out and changed again. We'll deal with that on Monday. But basically, that order was meant to be finished on Friday. It was meant to go out on Friday and didn't. And the reason was that the guys were building another order. It was built, pretty much, it was being boxed up, ready to go, and someone said on the system, it says 3-metre leads. Is it definitely 3 metre? And no, all 14 spark lights were fitted with 2-metre leads, so the whole order had to be stripped down. And worst thing with protection circuits is it is literally straight back to basics. Everything has to be stripped out and rebuilt with 3-metre protection circuits, which they didn't actually finish on Friday, but it meant that order didn't get done either. So there's a knock-on effect, and we've had that happen 3 times in the last 5 weeks. So I'm going to look at something in the system to sort of go, this isn't 2 metres, this is something else. Just sort of to highlight the cable size a little bit more when it's not what we call standard. So 2 metres is our standard. To hopefully prevent that. And we've got an order that we're going to fulfil this week that has got all sorts of funny lengths in it, and we're all very aware of that. So we won't miss that one at all. But it's got like 15 metres, 7 metres, 9 metres, 6 metres. I don't think any lights on that list are 2 metres. There's like 40 lights and they're all different lengths, so that's going to be interesting for us to do. So anyway, I other than my kind of breaking my promise about finishing late, because I'm doing it again, I promised I wouldn't do it about a weekend ago, because I did a few late nights again then to do some other orders and try and get us ahead. We managed, I think, so it was, so not this week, but the week before, we managed 111 light fittings built in a week. We are targeted at 70, so you can see that's quite a huge jump up, and that's probably because of the extra hours that we all put in. Some of the guys had finished at like 6 o'clock, a couple of days, that kind of thing. Yeah, so I'm trying to improve efficiency and trying to get the guys into lean. So we've been watching lots of Lean Smarts videos, Fast Cap from Paul Akers, tons of that stuff, bit of Toyota manufacturing, that kind of thing. It really does apply to any business, but in particular for what we're doing. We've literally changed from batch work to one-piece flow, which has meant that now we're producing lights quicker. So we're kind of seeing a natural uplift anyway. So now instead of doing 70, we're probably going to raise our target to about 85 average. It's really dependent on the machining. Machining situation. So I'm going to bring you around and show you. So this is my. So I redid our wall of kind of what we're about, what we're going for, and what's going to happen in the unit. It's kind of centre, not on purpose, but on centre of that is a Doosan Lynx 2100 LYX, I think it is, or LSY. Fantastic machine, £115,000. Then there's a £15,000 hydro feed bar feeder to go with that. So it's a lot of money, and at the moment it's not looking good on the finance. We're pretty tapped out with an existing finance company on the CL1. Yeah, it's a mess down there, and you know, 115,000 plus 15, you know, 130 is a lot of money. It's the finance is kind of looking at, you know, so you have to put down 10% deposit, and at the moment we're looking at having to go to tier 2 providers, which is talks about 11% APR, so you're talking about 2,400 a month. So it's a lot of money, and the lease for the unit is 23 grand a year, so that's about 2 grand a month, and there's a service charge of about 2 grand a year, I think, and then obviously all your utilities, etc. So really we kind of budgeted 3 grand a month for the unit, so we're looking at our running costs going up quite significantly when we had the unit anyway. So Doosan's a little bit in contention at the moment as to whether or not we're going to do it. We need a second machine. There's no doubt about it. We cannot. That machine is not keeping up. I come in here every day. 8 AM is the earliest I can run it. So I come in at 8. I start the machine up. I have to turn a really annoying loud compressor. Not a lovely hydrovane that's back there that we can't actually use. So we've got a nice hydrovane. Can't use it at all until we move because it's 3-phase. And well, it's a long story anyway. But we've only got single phase. I wanted a 3-phase VFD converter, but the one I got didn't really work, and then I ended up buying a cheaper single phase unit, cheaper single phase compressor for now, but it's loud as hell, and that's in a container at the minute. But yeah, so we run that from 8 AM until at least the absolute minimum 5 PM, but there are some days when we're kind of pushing it to like 6-7 PM, and it is, you know, it's taking the piss a bit with the neighbours. Yeah, I don't want to do that. But you know, say we're moving soon, so we'll be able to actually run even more extended hours. Plan is to start at 6 AM on the machine inside and run to about 6-7 PM, so that will really extend it. But we've got that issue of when the lathe goes down, we have a huge problem because it's only one lathe. So if we can't get a Doosan, which I don't know at the moment, possibly we won't. I was looking at used machines. I had some advice from a lovely guy named Alex who does CNC machining professionally. That's his job. He's had some bad experience with used. So now I'm not looking at used, I'm looking at another new Haas. Now I know if any of you have been watching the videos from ages ago, you'll know, yeah, kind of, is that really the right decision to make? Well, the thing with Haas is that they're kind of priced appropriately depending on what the options you take. So looking at the size and what we want, I've been looking at just a basic ST10. ST10 start at basically 30 grand, 29,950 or something like that. But they literally are so basic. They have nothing, no parts catcher, no swarf conveyor or anything like that. And really I need something Y-axis so that we can do a bit of drilling off centre and that kind of thing, and not rely on the live axis on the CL1, because the live axis on CL1 is the thing that keeps breaking. CL1 as a whole has been okay, but the live axis is the problem. So I'm kind of a little bit like, well, we need a Y-axis. So I don't know what the quote's going to be, but I'm expecting to get the quote on Monday, which, you know, means the video will probably be after Monday anyway by the time it gets uploaded, but we'll see anyway. Yeah, so hopefully. So there's a possibility of it's either going to be the Doosan or we're going to get a Haas ST10Y. Probably not with a bar feeder at the start, so probably with a bar puller, which is a bit crap. But it will get us through for the time being. It depends. I need to find out what length of bar you can actually get inside the ST10. If it's too short, then we'll have to get the hydro feed. I've been interestingly, Hass actually said, my sales rep actually said, yeah, no, we're probably not going to sell you the Hass servo bar feeder, we'll probably try and push you towards a hydro feed. Isn't that odd? So obviously they know there's, you know, it's not quite there, but it's good for them to be at least honest about that. So yeah, so basically we'll move to the unit. We have to get a second machine regardless, so we're going to do something. I've got some options with finance with, I don't never good with family, but I do have an absolutely amazing father-in-law, and so I could get some help there on that. So that's a possibility. I would rather not. I'd rather just go wherever, but you know, if we go through him, there's no interest, which is kind of nice. Not that I want to take the P or anything, but you know, he's kind of offered and is in that sort of position where he can do that, so that's amazing. So that's two things that are kind of going on. Now with lean, sorry, I'll get into lean now. What are we doing? So every day we're doing videos with the guys, teaching them about lean from Lean Smarts, and then trying to get them to implement it. So we do what we call everyday sweep. Sweep is cleaning, but it's not just cleaning, it's actually looking at where the mess has come from. So one of the things we identified was that we keep getting metal come out by the lathe, and the reason being is that when you take the material out the bottom of the lathe, because it doesn't have a swerve conveyor, you have to unload it by hand and it falls out everywhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to get a tray. When we move, we're going to get this big tray that fits underneath the lathe between the feet that you'll pull out first, and then you'll get your swarf bin, and then you pull it out, and then everything else should hopefully fall into that tray. So that's the plan. So hopefully that will eliminate that. So it's kind of like looking at things like that. Oh, another one is on the injection molding machine here, we get all these little granules. And basically what happens is they get released from this tube there, and they come out and they come down, but they keep sort of spilling over. So we're going to 3D print a collar that goes up and around a bit higher, which will stop all of this stuff spilling out. So prevent a bit of waste and also save some tidying up. So that's the idea of sweep, which is a basic lean technique. And now I've been implementing sort. No one else has at the moment. I'd like to see other people implement sort. So sort is about putting things in its place, and from various like fast cap, etc. They love using foam. We've used foam before I even started lean. I'd used foam for tools. So that tool holder there and that tool holder there are both old ones, and there was another one over there as well. Generally to kind of keep the tools in place, but the problem is this is what happens. Someone goes to use something. So we use a screwdriver, they finish with it, and that's where it goes. Yeah, and then what happens is we got enough of us in here that stuff goes missing all the time because we're like loading up stuff onto the small space that we've got. Would you believe I've got someone new starting on Monday? That brings our staff up to, so that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that's 8 if you include me. That's crazy, isn't it? But 2 of them are remote, they're not here at all. One who is here is part-time, and then so that leaves us with 4 full-time plus myself, so that's 5 in a garage, but it's basically a single garage and a container. So we have to get really super organised to make that work until we move. I can't wait till we move, seriously, it's going to be amazing. But yeah, so what we've done is we've, it's all about lean, so it's the sort, we've put all the tools in a piece of foam that we need for the job. So in particular, this is the assembly desk. I'm trying to also get people to treat the lights a little bit rather than stacking them like that. I've put this foam out so that they can kind of stack them individually like that on the foam, so it doesn't get kind of too on top of each other. And we kind of need to do a limit of 10 lights per run here anyway. And it actually, to tell the truth, because we've been doing a single piece flow, it doesn't get like this anymore. It's the only reason this is like this is because of the 3 metre lead issue, because this is the lights that still haven't been boxed etc yet, and they still need to be cleaned up and whatever. So normally what we're actually doing now is building one, going into test. Now yes, when it goes into the water test, it is in there for an extended period of time, but then when they come back out again, they're coming out one piece at a time, and then they're being cleaned out and boxed and whatever, and then out of the way, so that makes sense. But yeah, anyway, the tools in the foam are colour coded, so for argument's sake, if these end up over here, we know straight away, hang on, these are the cutters that are for this side. So that's to help try and prevent that and try and identify that. So I've done some heat shrink on the tools that we use, So we have our silicone spray, our thread lock. We use this tool to insert lenses. That's just a bit of machined acrylic. I haven't got any heat shrink that actually fits over that at the moment. We've got our side cutters or end cutters and some pliers. They're generally the tools that we use to build. There isn't any set colour or anything over here at the moment. Jacob, who's taken over the electronics on Monday, our new engineer, isn't generally he's not involved in the build process and needs a few more tools, but we're going to kind of try and narrow that down a little bit. We've got a second foam for builds here. So green foam, green heat shrink, even on the silicone spray as well. Hopefully try and identify that. So we're mostly building over there, but if we need anyone else to help assist those builds and do one piece flow as well, we'll do a little bit of build here next to the laser. As again, it's just that down to that space issue. We've still got all our boxes lined up, but we've arguably got too many because we shouldn't really be in the build of that many. Say the problem really we have is because of the machining. So what happens is we get to a point where we're like, right, you know, we can start building this order, but yet we're still missing parts, and the problem is that the machining has to do their thing, then it needs to go off to anodize, which is in the container, and then powder coating, and that, you know, anodize and powder coating processes generally for any given part at minimum I would say about 2.5 hours, because the anodize is like an hour, maybe 90 minutes. It kind of depends on what you're anodizing, and then it has to be washed, pre-baked, or, you know, basically dried. Then it can be sprayed, then it goes in the oven for 20 minutes, and then it has to cool. So it's quite a long process. So machining is the biggest bottleneck that we have. I thought it was actually building lights, but it's not. It's totally machining, because literally we just don't have the parts here. Once we get the machining sorted out, I reckon we can easily get to 30 or 40 lights a day with our current staff. So that's kind of going to be the goal when we move to the unit. If you're interested in how, so I'm doing what's called clockwork at the moment. I'll try to see how long this video is. It's quite long, 17 minutes, sorry guys. But if you're interested, I'm working with a coach, with coaching business coaches called RLC, which is, I can't remember what RLC stands for, but it's basically clockwork. And it's a book with Mike Michalowicz. I love Mike. He's a great author. Basically, his ideas aren't necessarily his. They're more, you know, assembled. They're great. They're just ideas that from all, you know, like great ideas from everywhere, brought into one place. So Profit First is amazing. We've just signed up with Profit First accountant, and already they literally have blown out any other account I've ever had with other businesses, etc. Like I'm literally my jaw dropped at like how they run their stuff. It's amazing. But RLC Clockwork, it's quite a lot of money. It's I think we paid $7,000 for the year, but it is worth it, and I totally recommend it to anyone. We've only been in it for a couple of months, but basically we've done a 3-phase plan. So normally what you do is you do your, you know, in business you have a yearly plan. So you might have like year 1, year 3, year 5. What they advise is don't do that. Instead, do phase planning. So it's a bit more, because sometimes you can't put a time on things. It's hard to know. You just have to just sort of set, you know, like you set your project, set your milestone, and how you're going to achieve that. So project 1 was expansion of space, and we basically we moved into an industrial unit and organise our workflow and equipment. We're basically going to we're going to have for our assembly operations, they're going to be a bit bigger than just this desk, but they're going to be U-shaped cells, and the idea is that it could be one person building lights, or 2 or 3 people can also step into the same cell, and then those processes can be split so that it's effectively moving down from person to person. That will gain us a lot of efficiency like that, and the U-shaped cell means that there's less distance to travel as well, and that's one of the wastes in lean is travel or movement. So we find, you know, picking up a light and putting it down all the time, for instance, that's wasted time. Anyway, so phase 2, we're going to begin pushing lighting products to wholesalers, because we've not really done that. We've sold lighting to some wholesalers, but the problem at the moment is that we've got a long lead time. So we've got 4 weeks. It's very hard to push stuff like that to wholesalers, because they're like, you know, obviously understandably, their customers are going, well, I want this stuff just to be here within less than probably 3 days, maybe a week. So with that, we're going to increase our lighting production rate to 150 units per week, and that's going to be via a purchase of a second lathe, adding 2 members to the team to our operations, and 1 to sales, efficiency and automation. So second lathe we've already discussed. 2 team members to operations, we've kind of already done that actually, so we've probably already jumped ahead a little bit there. 1 sales, yeah, we need to do the sales, because at the moment I do all the sales, so, and I use the term sales really loosely. I don't really sell, I kind of just advise and answer people's queries. We're in a fortunate position that we don't really have to do any sales. We do marketing. We do a little bit of advertising in magazines, like Professional Electrician and Pro Landscaper, and we do loads of social media stuff. And the social media stuff is actually the biggest driver. I think Instagram has driven 95% of the sales in this business, aside from then repeat business. But in terms of new business, 95% all day long. But yes, the idea of RLC clockwork is you work up to a 4-week holiday. So you do 1 week, then 2 weeks, then 3 weeks, then 4 weeks. And the point of 4-week holiday is that if you can go on holiday as a business owner for 4 weeks and the business is fine and it runs without you, that's a whole cycle. So that's payroll gone through. That's if there's any weird stuff that happens in a particular month, all of that's happened. So that's the reason why it's 4 weeks, is to make sure that everything kind of runs without you. Because the idea is if for God forbid, if I die or get cancer or whatever, the business needs to kind of carry on. It can't just stop with me. Like, I can't be the one that is responsible for everything. It just doesn't work. So sales is the biggest issue there. So operations would pretty much continue as is without me. Wouldn't be really much of a problem, although it probably turn into an absolute mess in here, even more so than it already is. So there's a bit of more training stuff to do there, but stuff would still get made. But the sales wouldn't get done. Well, I say sales wouldn't get done. Rowena has been doing some sales in terms of pricing, etc. But anything that's like real technical, in terms of someone wants to ask a customer, it's done. Because do a bit of that, or do drawing overlays. No one else is doing that but me at the moment. I really don't want to do. I like doing it, but I don't want to be the one that has to do it all the time. And then phase 3 is find a distribution partnerships in the USA and EU and increase lighting production rates to 250 units per week, which should be just adding more 2 more team members to operations and 1 to back end, and then more efficiency and automation. So not necessarily adding any extra machinery or anything. It's just kind of extending the staff a little bit and running those 2 machines again longer. So it should be pretty achievable. If you were to put a time frame on that, well, phase 1's going to be complete in, say, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. Phase 2, second lathe. So it kind of depends on what's going on with second lathe. So the lathe market, the machinery market's gone a bit mad at the minute because of the whole situation in the world at the minute. I'm not going to use the word, I can't stand it. But because of that situation, the machinists, the machine manufacturers kind of down production a little bit, or quite a lot, and there's kind of like a big backlog of orders, and now work is flowing again and people are getting orders in and stuff. They need new machines, and so now like some machines are like 6 months wait list, that kind of thing. I don't know about the Haas or Doosan at the minute. When I originally spoke to Doosan in January, they said it was basically a month or less. So yeah, I don't know. So it could be quite quickly. Basically, once we get the second lathe up and running, we will look to then do our sales and start doing that. So that could be, for argument's sake, could be as soon as July. It could be as late as Christmas or January. Who knows? There's a lot of factors to consider there. And then the phase 3, I wouldn't be surprised if it's only 6 months after. So you see, it's kind of hard to look sort of like, if someone says to you, where are you going to be in 3 years, or even 5 years or 10 years, it's really hard to know, isn't it? You just don't really know. Like, you have a vision. I know kind of, the idea of this board is to kind of say, we're going to have, I know in the unit we're going to have a nice gym, we're going to have a shower, and then we're going to have our showroom. That is the actual unit. We're going to have a nice cafe area. You know, I care about my staff, I care about the guys, so I want to make sure that it's a place that they really want to come to work. And then, you know, you've got your general operations and bits and pieces here, and you know, we talk about the continuous improvement, honesty, efficiency, feeling valued, transparency. Hey, this video is all transparency, isn't it? You get to see all the crap on the floor, etc. While I've been tidying up at I was probably 1:30 now, but yeah. So yeah, there's not really much more to go through in this video. I just kind of wanted to give you guys an update of what's going on, and I guess I wanted a kind of a rant a little bit. I don't know. I'd love to know your thoughts on where we're going and what we're doing. If you think I'm an idiot or whatever, that's cool. That's fine, you know, it is what it is. But hopefully you can kind of grasp an idea of where the dream is. Funny enough, we were talking the other day about if some other lighting company was going to come in and try and buy us out, and I was like, it's not of interest to me. I'm not looking to make millions of pounds and retire on some island somewhere. That's not the thing that I want to do. I'm trying to build a culture, and I want to bring back British manufacturing. So yeah. Oh, one quick one for you. We changed our ball joint and we put in little grub screw holes that on this rod, for instance, that is quite light on the inside. I have to have a word with Joe about that, but basically it's improved the ball joint action massively, like it's no longer taking paint off. You can just secure both sides of the grub screw. It's brilliant. It's actually awesome. It's a really simple idea, and thanks to Alex for that one. But yeah, anyway, I'll see you guys soon. Next video will probably be when we start to move. Yeah, anyway, see you later.